Let's talk about a term we've all heard, probably laughed at, maybe even used in a joke or meme: daddy issues. It's become something of a pop culture punchline, a throwaway explanation for someone's behavior, usually directed at women, and almost always said with a smirk or a raised eyebrow. But beneath the surface of that two-word phrase lies something much deeper, much more serious, and far more complex than the jokes give it credit for. So, what does it actually mean to have daddy issues? Where does this idea come from? Why does it carry so much weight in the world of psychology, relationships, and self-worth? And how did something so sensitive turn into a meme? Let's unpack it. Origins, the roots of daddy issues. The term, daddy issues, isn't a clinical diagnosis. You won't find it listed in any version of the DSM, the manual psychologists use to identify mental health disorders. Instead, it's a pop culture phrase that loosely refers to the psychological consequences of having a complicated, strained, or absent relationship with one's father. In most cases, it refers to people, often women, who grow up without a reliable, emotionally available, or nurturing father figure. But that's only scratching the surface. At the heart of so-called daddy issues is attachment theory, a psychological framework developed in the mid-20th century by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. Attachment theory explores how our early relationships, especially with our caregivers, shape the way we connect with others throughout our lives. A securely attached child learns that relationships can be trusted. They develop a sense of safety, consistency, and emotional connection. But when a father figure is emotionally distant, neglectful, abusive, or entirely absent, the child may grow up with an insecure attachment style, often anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. This can create a blueprint that repeats in future relationships, often unconsciously. A person may crave intimacy while fearing abandonment. They may seek validation from others because they didn't receive it at home. They may chase the love they didn't get as a child, or avoid love altogether out of fear. That's the real foundation of daddy issues. It's not about being clingy or crazy or promiscuous. It's about unmet emotional needs, formed in childhood, echoing into adulthood. The many forms of daddy issues. People often assume daddy issues only happen when a father is physically absent. But absence can take many forms. Maybe the dad was around physically but was emotionally unavailable. Maybe he didn't know how to express love, or believed that vulnerability was weakness. Maybe he was critical, judgmental, or set impossible standards. Maybe he was loving one moment and distant the next, creating a sense of instability and confusion. Some fathers were present, but only conditionally, offering affection when their child performed well, behaved a certain way, or met certain expectations. This creates a deep fear of failure and a belief that love must be earned. And in more severe cases, the father may have been abusive, verbally, emotionally, or physically. This trauma can leave scars that last a lifetime, influencing how someone sees themselves and how they expect to be treated by others. These experiences can result in behaviors like seeking validation or approval from romantic partners, struggling with low self-worth, feeling anxious or fearful in relationships, repeating patterns of dating emotionally unavailable people, having trouble setting boundaries or saying no, becoming overly independent to avoid relying on anyone. None of these behaviors mean someone is broken or unworthy of love. They're survival strategies, ways people learn to cope when their emotional needs aren't met in childhood. The gender double standard. Here's where things get a little messy. In pop culture, the term daddy issues is overwhelmingly used to shame women. It's tossed around to criticize a woman's dating life, sexual behavior, emotional needs, or even her personality. It's rarely used with empathy. More often, it's a way to reduce a person's pain into a punchline. But here's the truth. Anyone can have daddy issues. This isn't just a women's issue. Men who grow up with absent or harmful father figures often experience similar struggles. Difficulty expressing emotions, fear of vulnerability, issues with commitment, or even modeling toxic masculinity because that's what they were shown. The difference is, men aren't usually mocked for these struggles. Their behavior is often excused, normalized, or even glorified. Meanwhile, women are pathologized for it. This double standard hurts everyone. It discourages people from confronting their past. It silences emotional pain, and it reinforces harmful stereotypes that don't reflect the complexity of human experience. Breaking the cycle. So what can we do about it? First, we have to move beyond shame. Having a complicated relationship with your father doesn't make you weak or dramatic or doomed. It makes you human. Second, we need to create space for healing. That might look like therapy, journaling, inner child work, or simply talking openly with trusted friends. It involves recognizing the patterns that were formed in childhood and consciously choosing new ways to relate to yourself and others. Healing also means learning to reparent yourself, offering the love, protection, and encouragement you didn't receive from your father. It means learning to set boundaries, build self-worth, and stop chasing validation from those who can't or won't give it. And for parents, especially fathers, it's a reminder of how powerful your role is. Being present, emotionally available, and supportive isn't just nice. It shapes a child's future relationships, their self-esteem, and their understanding of love. Redefining the term. Maybe it's time to retire the phrase, daddy issues, altogether, or at least reclaim it. Instead of using it as an insult, we can use it as an invitation to explore, understand, and heal. When someone is acting out of pain, we don't need to mock them. We can ask, where did this come from? What are they trying to protect? What do they need to feel safe, seen, and valued? Because behind every person with so-called daddy issues is a story. A childhood, a series of moments where love should have shown up but didn't. And behind every behavior that looks like drama or desperation is a human being doing their best with what they were given. Let's give each other the grace to heal. And let's stop turning trauma into a joke. Conclusion. To anyone who's ever been called too much, too needy, or too emotional, just remember this: your emotions are valid. Your experiences matter, and healing is possible. You are not defined by your past. You are not your trauma. And you are definitely not a punchline. If this message resonated with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, go ahead and like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more conversations that go deeper than the surface. Your support helps bring these important topics to more people, and honestly, it means a lot.